If you think Baltimore has an energy crisis with these $1,000 plus bills, well, what if I told you this crisis is actually creating some opportunity for buyers and sellers in the Baltimore metro area? Smart buyers, smart sellers, and investors are making moves while others are panicking. And today's video, I'm going to show you how exactly to create some opportunity for yourself with all this going on in and around the Baltimore metro area. I'm Mike Mislinski. Be sure to hit that notification bell, subscribe below so that you can stay current on everything Kelly and I have going on here in and around the Baltimore area. Today we're looking at this crisis that is going on in and around the area and how to exploit it a bit and create some opportunity for yourself. While everybody is kind of panicking about this, savvy buyers, sellers, investors are positioning themselves to capitalize on this situation. So basically leads back to what Warren Buffett says, be greedy when others are fearful. And today in this market, we see a lot of people being fearful. So with that, let's take a look at what actually may be an opportunity for us here towards the back half of 2025 and into 2026. All right, so the elephant is that BGE has absolutely ballooned people with massive utility bills. Gas and electric. Baltimore Gas and Electric is short for BGE, and essentially people that have had traditionally maybe $200 to $250 bills are going into the $450 range, and people that have had maybe that $800 bill are going into maybe that $1,500 to $1,600 a month bill, which is absolutely insane. Just think about that. Expecting a bill for one thing and having it basically doubled when it comes in the mail or comes into your email inbox. If you're anything like me, that's going to create a ton of anxiety, pressure, frustration, all the things that go along with unwanted surprises, but especially with unwanted surprises that are in the form of bills. And some of that is due to the gas hikes. We've seen a 50% increase since 2020. That's dramatic. That is so dramatic. It seemingly doesn't make any sense. But it's not just the gas, it's also obviously the electric. And with all that being said, when all this kind of stuff goes on, there's going to be losers and there's going to be winners. So let's try to look at what we can do to springload ourselves in this opportunity and create some positive impact out of it. Because if we just sit and complain, it's not going to do any good. We're going to get trampled, and that's not the idea. We want to be the ones doing the trampling. So let's get into where the opportunity actually lies. Right now, we know that home sales overall are down, right? Down maybe around 6 to 7% on average year over year. And that is not due to just the energy costs, right? There's due to lots of factors, but utility costs are paying a large part into some of that fearfulness and why some of these buyers aren't actively shopping. And when they're not actively shopping, days on market for the homes that are actually on the market are increasing, right? That's not something that you want to hear if you are a seller, right? If you are one of those people that have homes sitting on the market, you're gonna see more and more often than not giving some credits to these buyers that are actively shopping. So, buyer could be a little bit good in that regard, but sellers, right, creates more anxiety around, can I sell my house? Will my house sell, etc. And then there's the new builds. So any new builds, especially we know in Baltimore County, it's something that is just basically non-existent. It's very hard to find these new builds, especially single family home new builds. So typically these new builds are extremely energy efficient. They go through a much more rigorous process than your older homes. So your older homes don't have to live up to the newer standards that are set forth with all of the energy efficiencies. So these homes are obviously, they're gonna be more expensive just in general, but they're even more in demand because of how efficient they are. And then the investing side of things, when people are looking to buy homes for cheap and maybe do some repairs and then sell them, you know, the old fix and flip method, investors are finding a lot more of these people that are willing to part with their homes and downsize into something smaller or move out entirely. And this really isn't just a utility crisis. It's basically a little bit of a resetting of the market. We had so much growth over the last few years that at some point, something has to give. So these changes, whether it be with utilities, inventory, rates, so on and so forth, are all creating this, basically this reset to make sure that we're not getting too out of whack with the prices and so forth and competition, but more of like a leveling, more of a balanced real estate market.
Thinking about relocating to Baltimore? Well, I've got just the thing for you. My team and I have actually taken the time to create the ultimate relocation guide, which is meant to save you hours of research, and I've linked it all down below.
From top employers to best hospitals and a boatload of other things, all the stuff you'll need to know before making the move to in and around Baltimore. The best part, this guide is entirely free. Just click the link in the description at the top pinned comment. Hope this helps. Now let's get into how buyers and potentially some investors are winning with this quote unquote crisis going on. The never ending energy efficient house hunt. So if your house has been upgraded, right? So you maybe have an older home, but you've upgraded it to create more energy efficient things in the home, such as newer insulation, newer appliances, newer windows, a better roof, solar. Buyers are looking for these homes. Buyers want basically as stress-free of a process as humanly possible, right? Just like anything. But when you have all of these things, maybe such as a newer HVAC unit, these are gonna lend to lower utility costs. Does that mean they are going to be half of what your neighbor might be? No, but they will be more efficient and run better overall. And obviously, they should obviously last a lot longer with a longer lifespan since they're newer. You can expect maybe $100 to $200 a month in savings, potentially, depending on what is done in the home with all those things I just listed off. So it just depends. And you gotta look out for what the things that might be important to you. If it was me, HVAC is number one. But when you do have all those efficiencies, that can create a huge yearly savings for you, anywhere from like $3,000 to maybe $6,000, depending on what's going on with all the upgrades in the home. So that does give you a little bit of buying power and a little bit more of monthly spend. What I would suggest is that if that's saving you on a monthly basis, you don't necessarily have to go and spend that and cater to that savings. Just know that it's there for you. So you're not gonna be so pinched when you actually do buy a home, that you actually do have a little bit more wiggle room month to month, especially with if you have a growing family and maybe some kids and their needs as they grow and get older. So don't necessarily, maximize that budget per se. Just know that you have a little bit more wiggle room. And then if you're an investor with the old fix and flips and you're buying some of these older homes that have a lot of these inefficient appliances or HVAC, windows, etc., the government is actually giving you loans about up to $50,000 to create energy efficient upgrades. So if you're an investor and you want to maximize your return, upgrading these things in the home give you the ability to market them and potentially get more for your home. So if you're buying this at a certain number and you want a certain number in return, I will say that if you're able to do some of these upgrades, you're going to be able to see a lot more people through that door when you actually do put it on the market. A $200,000 house gets about $30,000 in energy efficient upgrades, and then it sells for $280,000. That buyer is saving $300 a month on utilities. So everybody wins in that scenario. And it's just doing good, right? You want to provide a good product for people if you're an investor so that you can do this on a long-term basis and not have people coming at your door with lawsuits and things like that. So doing these things over the course of time and over and all your fix and flips are going to lend you a good hand down the line. Then here's the big one, the solar arbitrage play. Baltimore electric rates have jumped 37% since 2020. That's obviously huge, up to almost 18 cents a kilowatt. Depending on which plan you go with a solar company, solar can actually pay for itself after about almost 7.5 years. So that's a huge savings if you're looking to lower your monthly utility bill. Now, I would say if you're looking into solar, you should probably make sure that you're going to be staying in that home for obviously longer than that 7 years so that you get the full benefits of it. Because depending on what kind of plan you do, you want to make sure that either that lease or that loan that you've taken out to pay for that solar is actually paid off. Now, that being said, there are huge tax incentives right now up until the end of the year. After that, you're most likely to be paying full price for your system. So you want to make sure that you talk with a solar company that is expert in all of these things, not actually just the service, but on the financing side of it, so that you get a clear understanding of what you're going to be looking at and what your monthly savings will be over that course of time. Now, they're not all created equal, I will mention that, but we do have preferred partners that we can line you up with that do a good job and are actually looking out for your best interest. Then number 4 is the utility credit negotiation. So there actually are sellers out there willing to give you credits, AKA basically money off the price or just money back to use towards your utility bills, or frankly, whatever you'd like. So whether it's a new kitchen or maybe a new HVAC or a new roof, or whatever, money to put aside so that you can have more money in your pocket to do the things you feel are necessary moving forward to create an energy efficient home, which then will obviously lead to lower utility bills. Now, you may think the government is out to get us, which, depending on how you feel about certain things, that may or may not be the case, but Maryland is actually looking for ways to try to give back and try to, kind of lower this burden for all of our residents here in the state. Up first is the Maryland Clean Energy Advantage Program. This program offers up to $50,000 at 0% interest for 24 months. Your credit score can be as low as 580 to qualify. They've already funded $3 million in upgrades, and it's available until the end of the year. So this goes along the lines of the solar initiatives as well. So be sure to reach out to your financiers to make sure that you're taking advantage of these programs if they are available to you. Up next is the Empower Maryland program. This is a free energy audit for your home, and they give you rebates for installation, your HVAC, and some of your appliances. Limited income households do get priority, and they can be combined with other programs for maximum savings. So reach out to your financial people to make sure you do fall in line with this. They should be able to provide you with some of these initiatives. And then again, there's the solar initiative through the end of the year. We don't know what that'll look like next year, but you do get a pretty large savings up until the end of the year. So I do know that if you do sign an agreement here before the end of the year, it doesn't have to necessarily be installed. Don't quote me on that, but I believe so. And you should be able to get some of these savings. So if you are interested in solar, that's something that I would look into immediately. And then there's the BGE Budget Relief Program. So essentially they're giving you $80 of relief over a couple of bills that are going to be hitting your account here in the coming weeks if they haven't already. Is that a huge savings? No, but it is a savings. So you do have to acknowledge it. And they've suspended disconnections through March, which is a big deal. So if you're moving and all this and people don't change it over the electric, there's no added fees. So that's a good thing. And then they obviously have budget billing, which is something that I would definitely look into taking advantage of, so you have a more predictable bill. It may be higher than you're looking to pay, but at least it'll be predictable and you won't have all of these outrageous bills coming in with all this roller coaster of emotions, whether it be, lower, higher, what have you. But the real play is stacking as many of these as possible. So if you're able to do budget billing and solar and the discounts that are available to you for some of the energy efficient upgrades, these can actually save you thousands of dollars. We've seen people basically save about $40,000 by doing some of these programs.
Hey guys, it's Kelly. I'm here with Mike as well. And as much as I love making these videos, there's one thing I love even more, and that's helping families and people from all across the country make a move here to Baltimore. I moved here about 20 years ago and I've never looked back. I love helping countless families make the move as well. So whether you're coming out next week, next month, or even next year, don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is right here on the screen, and I've linked the description in case you missed the on-screen pop-up. Look forward to helping you and your family make the move to Baltimore.
So what are the housing opportunities that are coming into play now that all of this is going on? It's basically creating a two-tier housing market, and if you understand it, it's going to make tons of sense. I'm going to try to explain it to you. Tier 1 are the energy efficient homes. These are the premium homes. So these are homes that are usually newer, on the newer side, and have all of these newer standards and codes that reflect all of the energy efficiencies that the state is looking for. And these homes typically are selling 20 to 30% either faster or above what their comparable homes are in the same area, creating more demand for those homes, thus driving it up. So multiple offers are coming in on these properties from very educated buyers, right? So they've taken a look at your home and these efficiencies, and they've determined it's something that they really want to pursue, and they are super serious. So if you're a seller, that's good news. You're going to have very serious individuals looking at the home and offering on the home. And buyers are making the calls. They're making the call to BGE to get an average bill over the last few months to see what they can expect moving forward. So if you are someone that's creating these efficiencies and having this home that has these efficiencies, you better believe these buyers are reaching out to BG&E to get the average over the last few months. And then we have the traditional homes, some of the older homes. This is the second tier. So these homes are sitting a little bit longer, not necessarily they're not moving, but they're just sitting a little bit longer, which, you know, depending on your needs, that could be a bad thing, but not necessarily the worst thing. But we are seeing some price reductions because unfortunately, based on the market that we were in before, people think that their home should move in a weekend, which is maybe not so realistic anymore. They're telling their agent, we need to cut the price, we need to cut the price. Well, slow and steady wins the race, I can tell you that, in all facets, and not just real estate, but in life. And if you are to remain patient, you may not have to do some of those reductions. It's just that buyers are taking a little bit more time to do their research. And then if you're a buyer, you're probably going to be looking for some credits. You're going to be trying to get some credits. So if you're a seller, you should be expecting some credits that you're going to have to give out. So be mindful of that when you're pricing your home as well, and getting an understanding that, hey, look, we could have something come in with X amount of dollars back here to the buyer. So if you're a buyer, obviously looking for whatever fits your budget is obviously the focus. But if you can get one of those tier 2 or so the top tier homes, then that's obviously preferred. But if you're a seller and you have one of those older homes, doing some of these upgrades and creating these efficiencies for folks is going to only help you in the long run. It's going to help it sell faster, and it's going to help it sell for more. And then let's not forget that there are new builds being done that offer a lot of incentives. So if you want a list of new developments that are offering incentives, this could be anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 back into your pocket. Reach out to us, because we know we work with all the builders here, and we kind of have an idea of what they're offering, what they're going to be changing their offers to month over month, because they change very often. So it's very crucial to remain up to date of what these builders are offering, because the longer these homes kind of sit, the more antsy they get as well, and they start to offer credits too. All right, so here is the real winning strategy to get a home or sell a home in this market with all this crisis happening to us here in and around the Baltimore metro area.
Now for the question of the day. For those of you looking to move within the state of Maryland, you're already here, you want to move to a different part. What part do you want to move to? Do you want to move from the city, out of the city, from Baltimore County to Anne Arundel County, Annapolis to Frederick? Let me know in the comments. I'm extremely interested. Get an understanding of where people are moving within the state. Even better, give me a call, shoot me a text. All my information is right on the screen here. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Phase 1 is research and target. So you want to identify homes with high utility costs, research available incentive programs, get pre-approved with all of your utility costs factored in, and build relationships with energy efficient contractors. Especially that last one. We have a list of contractors that we work with solely, that we trust, know will do a good job and put in high performing energy efficient things into your home, or make your home energy efficient. Up next is the strategic buying phase. So this is when you want to negotiate the credits from the sellers, target some homes with really good bones, but maybe some inefficient systems. Look for motivated sellers in the BG&E demographic, and just get an understanding of, what is the market presenting to us. Work with your agent, potentially me or Kelly, and we'll be able to show you, where these pockets are that we can really take advantage of some of these sellers that are probably a little bit fearful. And then there's phase 3. So this is the smart upgrades feature. This is when you want to apply for all those incentives, any of those 0% interest loans to help upgrade your systems, your HVAC, your windows, your roof, solar, etc. And make sure you're documenting all of these improvements so that if you do go to sell your property in the future, you have a list of all of these so that people know exactly what has been done to the house, so that you can provide that value and articulate that value moving forward, so that your home doesn't sit on the market and you get top dollar. And then there's phase 4, which is just basically profit and enjoy your home. So this is when you can actually see the magic happen. your utility bills start to go down, the home value increases, and you're actually able to have a consistent, constant structure to your monthly budget. It is so important to have a consistent monthly budget when you're a homeowner, because these costs can come out of nowhere. Things can break. Life events happen. You need to make sure that your budget is in line and you know exactly what you're paying every single month, especially the electric and all of your energy associated needs. Let me just tell you an example. We had a client buy a $300,000 house in the Towson area, and they were ranging about $375 a month in the utility bills. The seller decided to give a $8,000 utility credit. Imagine that. Then they used some of the Maryland programs to provide $25,000 worth of improvements, such as their HVAC, with only about $12,000 out of pocket, and their utility bill went down all the way to roughly right around $280 a month. So just think about that. They had an HVAC in there that was almost 30 years old. I don't know how it was still running, but being able to put a high efficiency system into their home dramatically changed their monthly output. What you put in is what you get out. So when you put in something really good and high efficient, then lo and behold, your utility bills go down. Now, is that a case for everybody? Not necessarily, but it does give you a picture of what some of these things can do moving forward so that you can help manage all of these increases that we're seeing through the energy company. Listen, all of this is not going to last forever, right? Nothing lasts forever. So will these utility bills go up into perpetuity forever and ever? No, they're probably going to level off here at some point. And hopefully some of the other things that we have going on in and around our lives level off at some point. But timing is everything. So making sure that you're taking advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you is absolutely key. Take advantage of the loan programs. Take advantage of the initiatives being pushed out by our government in terms of solar and things like that. Take advantage of the rebates that BGE is going to be offering us. Take advantage of all of these things now, so when they're gone, you're not like, man, I should have just really taken advantage of some of that stuff. It would have really helped us out. We could have really gotten a new HVAC. We could have really gotten new windows. We could have gotten solar, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to help you out in the long run. It may be a little bit of a pain in the butt. It may be a little bit of like, I really don't feel like doing this. However, stick it out, grind it out a little bit. I'm more than happy to help you to do it. It's going to help you guys in the long run, whether you're a buyer or you're a seller. So get positioned now while others are complaining and very fearful of all of what we have going on, and take advantage so that you can position yourself for long-term wealth building. If this video kind of opened your eyes up to what's going on here in and around the Baltimore area, or just gave you some insight as to what's available to you, make sure you hit that notification bell, subscribe, so that you can stay current on everything that we have going on here in and around the Baltimore metro area. It's not all about real estate, it's about lifestyle, it's about the economic impacts that we have going on in the area and how they affect you. And then obviously, in turn, it's obviously all leads back to the real estate market. So, for Kelly Schuett, I'm Mike Mislinski. We'll catch you on the next video.